There's three things that I mentioned as well as part of, when I'm obviously having a chat with fitness business owners. Number one, current client retention might go up. Again, we don't really have any data on that just yet because we haven't really worked with that many people for that long yet, but we've basically said, current client retention could potentially increase with the additional support that clients are getting. And then potentially, as part, if you're selling a whole nutrition program and world-class nutrition support as part of the program as well, you could potentially have a higher conversion rate of sales. So, converting 6 people instead of 4 or something like that. And then also on top of that, because of our additional value, you can charge more for that as well. So there's 3 different. So I've not once talked about how I'm going to tell Julie to count her calories. Nobody gives a shit about that. The client does, of course, but to sell to the business owner, they just want to know. So I'm going to give you this. How does this fit into the business? How do I make 5 times more back? So well, here's three or 4 ideas, and straight away it's not just a service thing; it's a no-brainer business thing as well. And they're like,
business investment, yeah. And also you can show them what they're going to save on. So you can say you'd love, beautiful booklets and downloadables, but you haven't got the time for that. Rather than hire a graphics person and a developer, and this we'll work around the clock for you. And our team are putting dozens of hours in.
And include what that cost would be to them if they had to do it. So you've got apples to oranges comparison, and really ram it home.
So you see,
make them choke on it, literally.
And you guys consider 60 quid a month. I would actually, I don't want to kind of push it too far too soon, but really I would be looking at charging for something like this, the average price of what they charge a client, so like $99 a month. So it's for the price of one of your clients. Basically, if you get one new client, you can afford our service at £100 a month. And if they have 50 clients and they can put 100, paying 100, and they can pay you just 100 to serve all of them.
And they don't have the headache of doing it, you're doing it wrong.
So I think at the moment you're literally 2/3 cheaper than you could be. That's the only gap right now. So you can trace tactics.
I think it's wrong. They are.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's way too cheap.
So and it's.
Do you think we should whack the prices up?
But you have to change the positioning as well. You have to justify it.
On that, yeah.
So you have the value, but you're not communicating the value. That's the difference.
But they're in your mastermind, right?
Yeah.
So maybe work on the positioning, send it through, have a look at it, and before you hit send.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Because you gotta sell yourselves first. You've got to get to a point where holy fuck, at £90 this is a steal for them. Should we actually do this or should we charge more? And then you've got to go, no, let's just do 99 for now. You've got to know, you've got to sell yourselves on it first. Otherwise you'll logically get it, Trevor and Justin think I should charge more, I think they're right, but if you don't emotionally vibe with it, and you can't ask for that money you can't ask for that money from someone, it's £99 a month, this is going to be worth it for your business, come on, let's do the deal. And if you can't look someone dead in the eye, because how you feel is how the prospect will feel. When you're £99, no brainer, they'll go, oh, if you're that confident, yeah, okay, let's do it then.
Okay.
But if you're £99, maybe, retention,
Yeah, but you can also then risk reversal it with a guarantee as well,
That shows your confidence as well.
In the unlikely event, boom, 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 that this sucks, we'll give you your money back. It's probably never going to happen, but it can help you close the business as well.
Because we had somebody cancel the other day actually, and I said, why are you cancelling? And he said, I'm just not sure how to sell it. And I just thought, well, that's where another thing I need to be able to give is, these ways you can really market it.
You are in the marketing and sales business now.
Yeah.
That's the distinction, right? You go, that's great feedback for you then.
Yeah.
That's one of the next
Stick
things
that into your
doing as well. I'm
your
folding
focus.
a step-by-step thing, how to integrate it with the company. Nothing to do with nutrition. It's how to integrate it into the company. That's literally one of the next tasks that we'll be doing. Because we've had the same as well. So it's not just okay, we've got these awesome services, and I don't know how to pitch this to new clients, and how do we do that?
Cool. Does that help, guys?
Yeah.
All right. For now, that's the one thing. That's the one thing you need to do, and that will be the domino for everything else. Because when you have more money coming in now, and again, well, you can talk to your current members, but maybe this would be more something for new people coming in with a price jump that big. And what's going to happen now is when you make that change, like with Jack, right? He went from 35 to 75 and sales got easier. And you're probably going to find the same. And so when you have more money, life does get easier, right? And you have more revenue coming in, you'll be thinking clearer, you'll have better ideas, you'll be more happy and excited spending time with your members, getting to know them more.
Okay.
Your energy will just come off way better when you feel you're being compensated fairly for what you're given. Otherwise, you're in this mode of you're just chasing them around and you're trying to sell yourselves to your existing clients month after month over and over again because they can't see the value. And that's draining, right?
Yeah.
I'd probably go back to the person who just cancelled and ask them a few more sort of probing questions.
Okay.
So look, in the conversation you told me this is why you cancelled, but what could we have done or what could we do to get, to have kept you or to get you back? And just dig a little bit more and you'll get more information there to help you for future clients, for retention, and make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Would you offer any of the current members the chance to lock in at the current price, or would you just...
This would happen automatically as you'll tell them, and a price increase is also good to go to your list and say, right guys, on this date the prices are going up, but if you lock in now at the current rates, we've got that on offer for like 3 more days. And you'll be at that rate then locked in. And it's a good surge of cash from your current people on the fence. And plus, same with your current members, you'll let them know like they're on 33 a month.
Yeah.
But if they drop off and cancel, even for a month and come back on, they're gonna have to come back on at 99.
Yeah.
So it's a great retention lock-in tool as well. We do that in the gyms, like same things. If they want to freeze it for a month or whatever, well, like they can freeze for a month, they have to pay us £25 to hold the spot per month, just like a gym would. And if they don't do that, they just break away for a month and come back, then they're going to be paying more money than what they started with. So, next we'll go to Annabelle. So let's go back to your...
About me, I find that so hard. My business is in South London. I live in Hertfordshire, North London. So I had to rapidly grow my business, which was horrific, never ever advise it. However, I learned massive lessons. So I moved within 24 hours, which meant I had to start it, do everything. Which meant after about a year and a half, so about 18 months, the business has been it's been growing, but in a kind of constant sort of, I have to just send a bit of extra cash in just to get it through type thing. So huge learning curve, but then obviously spoke to yourself before Christmas, reversed the model overnight, and it's awesome, love it. So I now have a 4-week program, which hasn't added much time. So
The awkward one's going well, it's fine.
You go to Cyprus? Cyprus. Is he going to Cyprus?
Oh, I don't know, if you guys.
So yeah, it hasn't added much time to my diary. So I still have a full-time job and business at the same time. So my days are whacked out. So for me at the moment, it's very much about this year keeping it simple, but increasing the revenue. So I went from selling like £40 programs to 240 over the phone straight away through the application process. So revenue's gone up straight away, which is awesome. So we have that capability. But I'm currently in the transition phase of kind of going from the old model to the new model, but getting the right team in as well. So kind of my question is, because I want to really create a sustainable, profitable business as it is now. So the studio is 2 hours away from me. At the moment I'm travelling back and kind of trying to transition it and obviously get the community feel, which is starting to come back now that I'm back there. And obviously I've now got an operations girl because I am like a puppy dog. So she does all the detail and she questions me, which is great. And I have a lead generation person. Again, consistency is out the window because the butterfly can go fast and I'll follow it. So those two are now by my side and they've got my back and I've got theirs. So we've got a really good team there. So I'm onboarding those guys, and what I'm looking at is similar to what you were saying earlier, is the instructors. Because I keep mindset-wise hitting this hurdle where I go, well, they're a yoga instructor, they're a Pilates instructor, Zumba instructor, they're used to that, like it's £25 an hour, you come in, you do it, stuff like that. For me, I'm not looking for that anymore. What I'm looking for is for someone to come in as a team member and be taking on the part as the resident. So in
You're looking for a team member, like on a retainer kind of deal, yeah?
Yeah, so they're more of a kind of, they are part of the business rather than, like you said, show up to.
And you're looking for someone who would do all of those, like Zumba, Pilates and yoga, or keep them separate?
If I listen to my heart, I'm looking for someone who, similar to myself, would do all of it and be willing to train. So part of what my answer to my question that's coming up is start actually investing in that person. So
Which is
send
the
them
biggest
away.
revenue driver? Yoga, Pilates, or Zumba?
Oh,
so
Zumba's second to none.
Okay.
Zumba is like fully booked every week. And that's what I use for the 4-week program I developed.
Right.
They basically come through and use bar, Zumba.
What's your retention rates? Or is it too early to tell since you made the change?
It's too early to tell. I mean, even the people that come in for one-off trials, I've been closing on 6-month programs up front.
Good.
It's from the word go.
And that's important for you because with things like Zumba and things like that, like the lower price, more commercial type stuff, your retention will usually be lower because they just generally have a lot less commitment to it. So if you're getting 6 months closed up front, that's really good.
So this is the other question I've got. So it's like the instructor part of it, but also where I'm closing 6 months up front, literally pretty much 5 out of 6 sales up front. What's happening is my automatic payments coming for each month are going down because obviously people cancelling, actually I'm getting the upfront people come in. So really mindset wise, I'm getting their money up front. So over time, that's going to start to see it. But there's still part of me going, shit, what if I don't make those sales next month because I'm not yet in that balanced kind of, you know,
You're mostly selling 6-month packages though, right?
Yeah, they're closing the 6-month packages with,
Right.
with one class. I'm switched. This is the switch over to the model though. So I was doing 3 trials of one class. They were closed on like a payment plan. Which
Okay.
is-
Seems like marketing and sales isn't going to be the main issue for you at the moment. We can talk about that. Your financial picture, what is your totals, all the payroll you send out, employees, contractors, whatever, including what you pay yourself, what is that roughly as a percentage of the total revenue?
Now I've gone to detail on how to.
So
So
if
if it's 6, so basically just before Christmas, my expenses were like 6k. I've
in
got-
payroll or
Oh no, just generally 6k was me kind of going my wage and everything I need to get
Everything is 6K, yeah? Okay.
So I know I need to have 6k constantly come in every single month.
well, you need a lot more than that, yeah.
But as in to survive.
Yeah, but payroll specifically, what's the payroll amount of that?
Specifically was, if I'm not including the ones that I'm teaching, you're looking like £2 a month on payroll alone.
Is that right? So it seems like you're probably with the number of people you have, you don't want any more people in the business right now.
No,
Not until it's had time to grow and
yeah.
let this new funnel kind of flourish. So I think it's definitely right. You want to look for someone who can do a lot more things and be more efficient rather than more people doing less. And it's going to be easier for you as well. The fewer people, because you've got that kind of gap in the business, you want to build a culture with them. It's going to be easier with fewer people. You need a big ROI from each person. Your advertising person, are they on strict KPIs?
I'm developing those KPIs now that the
But
things there.
well, okay. If you can look at the minimum number of sales they can generate for you or leads they can generate, like you want to tell them this is the benchmark. We need this minimum number of leads a month because I need X number of sales.
Yeah,
So if your conversion rate's 50%,
yeah.
I need 10 sales a month. So I need 20 leads a month, and this is my ads budget, and you have to keep them tight on that of like, this is what I need. And the minute you can't do that anymore, this deal is terminated. I can only afford to pay you if you get me this result,
Yeah.
right? And you can't accept anything less from them. So that needs to be how they make their ROI, and you know it's in the books, right?
Yeah.
Then there is, mostly your instructor, coach, team member here. And if Zumba is the main thing right now, maybe that's what you need to focus on if you have the capacity to really grow that and take that more. Right now, like you need to drive revenue, but also profit. So you need to sell. We'll get revenue by having more customers, but you need more profit by focusing on the 80% or the 20% of services that are giving you 80% of the return, which sounds like Zumba. So you want to sell the shit out of more Zumba. With if the same instructor can work with a bigger capacity, and how can you get the revenue up without your costs increasing by a penny? That's what you need to focus on right now, because especially if you say you keep putting cash into the business,
Well, last month was the first one I didn't have to.
right. So it's still a bit on early legs, right? But it doesn't sound that sustainable yet to me.
No.
It'd be easier if you lived there and you were close, it'd be different. But since you're far away as well,
It is what it is. Yeah.
so
You eventually want to move to where the business is?
I'm indifferent because for a couple of years I've always wanted to license out the model that I'm creating, and obviously the model's developed. So part of me wants to say move back because, you know, get it to that stage. Another part of me is like, it's not the long-term goal, so it's
Yeah, but it could be your short-term goal.
Yeah, but it could be my short-term. So for me, it feels good to say, right, if you go back short-term, get it on track, because you know you can move away from it. It survived, so I don't have that mindset hurdle. But yeah, I could easily rent the studio, get back in it, and train an apprentice up. I have someone that's done exactly what you said earlier. Literally contacted me, came to me and said, look, how do I work for you? I love what you've done. Like, I want to do what you've done. And she does volunteer for me, and luckily she's a Zumba instructor.
And do you know how to charge these guys on a retainer? Like how to pay them? What you should pay them?
In terms of the instructors,
If you had a team member, how many hours a week would they do for you overall?
in what department of the business?
Everything, like all their tasks
Oh,
combined.
if they were doing like all of kind of
And
everything.
the follow-ups, everything else. Shed, what would we looking at?
So
20 hours a week, 30 hours a week
If you
job?
had one person teaching all of the classes, currently we run 13 classes a week.
13.
13.
And you have additional things on top of them to do.
Oh yeah, they would do.
So what's that, like an hour extra a day?
Yeah.
So it's probably about 20 hours a week, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? An hour a day on top. So 20 hours a week. It's a part-time job you're looking for.
Yeah.
Now you have to look at then what's the relative market salary for that role elsewhere in that area. So, you know, what would a part-time fitness instructor get? Probably about £600 to £800 a month.
Yeah.
You don't want to pay anything more than that.
We can also market it as a full-time salary and say, look, you want to grow it. Do you want to grow it? Do you want to have more than 13? Is that your max?
Well, I think the thing to bear in mind is with one instructor teaching that many classes, it's the quality of the classes and taking care of the instructor as well. So yeah, if you said to an instructor, look, ditch the travel, stop traveling between multiple gyms, and worry about whether you can still have your class next month. You can have all your classes in one place, and we'll pay you a salary for it. Which, as
Remember
a
though-
fitness instructor myself, that I buy straight into that.
Yeah, but remember, if it's a part-time role, then they're willing to get their money somewhere else from other things if you don't offer them that.
Yeah, like I mean, if it was to go to a full-time role, like
Yeah.
as in you could grow it out to that, but the only thing is you would have to offer like administrative or something kind of, because they couldn't physically teach that number of classes. Like Zumba, you have to do the entire class with the client. You're not standing there. Yeah. So yeah, like there's certainly that class A's, yes you could, because you are walking around and instructing and things like that. But if you were to say, can you teach 8
So that's
Zumba
what, so I think
classes
what
a
you
week?
need is you need some really definitive targets with your revenues and profits, right? So you need to say like, okay, we need this much in revenue, we need this much in profit margin, and then you've got to work out, okay, how many clients can we actually serve, and how can I keep my costs as efficient as possible to get there?
Yeah.
Try and pick a date for that as well.
Yeah.
Because like some of the clients where I've mentored them as copywriters still have a full-time day job. And of course they want to be able to transition out of that.
Yeah.
And on the first session I said, all right, tell me what date you want that done by. What date will you be able to go, I quit? Because then for that to happen, I've got to make sure the money they're generating in the writing businesses well and truly is consistent and allows them to do that. But when you pick a specific date to go with what Justin said, it helps you get there quicker as well. Because here it is, here's the elephant. How do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time. And so you break it down till you get to that point.
Reverse
Work it back.
engineering, yeah. Because that seems like right now you're just building it from the front. Like you're putting one brick on top of the other, but you're not going to build a house, you're going to build a wall.
Yeah.
You need to start with the architecture, the blueprint of how this is going to look first
Work
of all.
back.
What's sustainability point number one? You know, And if you want to make a clean 20% profit margin at least, after you've paid yourself, after tax allocation, you know, and I'm guessing the revenue overall is going to be kind of under 200k in a year, right? You're not going to project higher than that. Like 20 grand a month or so, probably lower, the same or lower than that. So, yeah, you know, really work out what that's going to look, how much revenue needs to generate, also to release a profit, and then you reverse engineer back how much revenue, like how many clients are we going to need on average to fill up these spots with this capacity of space we have, and therefore then how can I then serve those clients, keeping my payroll and fixed costs as efficient as possible, while giving, of course, the same level of quality service. You know, and so that's, and you have a working backwards picture, then you start working into that box. That's, I think, the best thing for you right now, or you're going to be doing a mishmash of ideas with no long-term foresight.
Headless chicken.
Yeah, and we're not going to know if things working because we don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's going to be the main thing right now for this year ahead.
Cool.
Even for the move as well, it's like, okay, you know, it might be short term. You can go, okay, if I move here, by this date, I want to be out of here. Again, it just helps you get focused.
Yeah, because right now, well, a few months back, I was like, no, I want to go back. I want to get back in here. So I've literally nicked on the sofa. I sofa hop around the area at weekends just so that I can be there more. And I travel back and forth there at the moment just to kind of get it back on track. I tried the remote one, it doesn't work remote, to get something back on track. So I just found the sofa. But yeah, like, and even Airbnb is a shift towards that direction, even in the short term. So, yeah, awesome.
That's a good plan for you going forward then?
Awesome.
Good. All right. Let's go back to John. You head off.
Yeah, train soon. Cheers.
All right, Jack.
Good to see you, mate.
Bye.
See you soon.
Do I need to do the intro bit, or can I just go straight in with the question?
Yeah, just
Yeah, I
question.
run a gym.
GYM or JIM?
Gym men.
Gym for men.
Gym men.
Gym for men. Me, also man. So I kind of just sitting there thinking and listening to everything else. I'm not sure, and this is the point of the call. The thing is, of what my question is. Is it a question of patience and pace, or is it a question of operations and implementation? And I get confused between which one is it. So the question I've been writing down is like, I feel like there's a gap. So I know you really well, obviously, from the last few years, and I've got my business last year up to 10k a month, and it was great. Then I did some things, and it suddenly wasn't as great. And what it feels like for me is that there's a gap between all the stuff that I know needs to be happening in my business for my business to grow. So that's where I see it as you. And then there's me, where I have my mission, my passion, and the things that I want my business to do and the effect I want it to have. But there seems to be this hole in the middle, which is somebody doing the stuff, like the integrator, operations type person. So part of me feels like I'll never get to where I see my business going when I think about it from the vision, core value side of things. I'll never get this business to there unless I've got someone here putting the systems in and doing the things that I know to have happen. So then I say, well, is it just the fact that, is it that I have to do it but much slower than my brain wants me to do it because I want it done now? Or is it that I need a business partner who can do that stuff, and I say, look, here, have half my business and just do all those things, please, so I can go over here and talk about masculinity. So the first question is, what question should I be asking? And the second question is, what's the answer to that question?
Do you have a question?
First question is always look at your finances, right? Your
Yeah.
finances tell you everything you can and can't do,
Numbers don't lie.
right? It's going to tell you where your gap it really is. So
Yeah.
if you feel you need an operations person, great. Again, work it back to what is a relative market salary for that position. If it's 1,500, 2,000 a month for a good solid manager operations person, then you look at your budgets, right? So based on how much payroll is going out already as a percentage of total turnover, do we have that money allocated right now, or
Yeah.
do we not have enough revenue yet and have to hold off on those ideas until we get 20 new clients or something. So it's looking at, can we afford to bring that person in, weigh up, really, it goes back to financial forecasting again.
Yeah.
If I had that person right now, what would get done that isn't getting done right now? And what would the return be to the company? And map it out, worst case, best case, and outrageous case scenarios of all those things happening. And that's what we do for any major decision, like a hiring decision at a managerial or executive level. We run we do 2 forecasts of timelines. And we'll literally write, here's our financial projections at the worst case, here's our projections for 12 months at the best case. And we look at if only the worst case happened, would it still be worth it for us? If we pay this person $2,000 a month, but he or she is responsible for bringing back $3,000 and more personal happiness and fulfillment for me, is it worth it? You know, and if the worst case works, we go with it. Same thing with advertising. Like if best case, we'd love to pay £3 a lead. Worst case, we pay £10 a lead. Okay, let's go with the worst case. What if we did pay £10 a lead? Would the worst case still actually be feasible? And the worst case plan we can find that would still work is the best one to go with.
Yeah.
Not the best happy clappy unicorn in the clouds plan people think it's going to be. Because everything in business will take twice as long and cost twice as much as you think it will usually. So always go with the worst case return that you get with your eyes closed, and have a look, could the company afford to pay that person? You know, and then do whatever you can to barter, negotiate it down. Do I know someone in that role? Is there someone who loves the company as much who would help in that? Maybe there's an equity split in there somewhere, but you've got to really know. I mean, you're not going to get 50% or anything away. That's just crazy. But there could be something in that. But again, that equity play you got to watch. That's just not a fear, running away from responsibility thing again. If I just give you equity, you sort it out now. That's not going to motivate anyone. That will motivate the wrong person.
Yeah.
That will attract the person. If you're kind of being cowardly like that, in any decisions like that, you will attract a bully or someone will take advantage of that. Right? But it's not going to work out long term. There's like a bad kind of place of energy behind it.
And if you do go down that path, discuss the divorce before the marriage.
Yeah.
Right? Because in my banking days, a few people know, I was in banking 20 years, and 15 is paid employment, 5 is a broker. Of this 15, I was in commercial lending management. And the amount of times people would not discuss the divorce, and all of a sudden, these companies are broken up, and you've got loans, buyouts, and all sorts of shit. Right? So you discuss the ugly side of it, and the good side, and make sure it's all very clear. And just to back up what Justin's saying about the numbers, I mean, whenever myself or any of the lending team would do an assessment, right, of course, customers bring in these beautiful cash flows. Everything's gold, right? And we would chop that down to 75%, 50%, and then what's the break even?
Yeah.
Right? And then 4 exit strategies. Before I could approve the loan or be part of the loan, approve the process. Right? And so, but it's hard for people to be hard on their own numbers.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to be.
And I think as well, what you said at the beginning, Justin, which is, if you had that person, what are they going to do? What's going to get done that's currently not getting done? And that's actually a really powerful question, because straight away I was like, So yeah, if this magic fairy turned up on a cloud that said, I'm here to do all your operations, what should I do, John? Actually, I don't have a fucking answer to that in the first place, right? So
At least you can admit that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, first thing you just put them through my mentorship. It's all in there.
Yeah.
You need to
Yeah.
get the workbooks,
Yeah.
make this happen.
Yeah.
Because I need to go, I just want to do module 5 and do the selling bit. But I need 1 to 4 done, so can you just work on that for me?
Yeah.
Right? And so again, if you're providing the education, then you don't have to pay as much for the person. But you want someone who's got 20 years experience, they'll tell you what to do, cool, you're going to pay for that.
Yeah.
And it'll be a much bigger salary than $2,000 a month. And that's the cool thing for all you guys who are in the mentorship. Like, remember, like, when it comes to hiring a Facebook ads, because you have the systems, so I've given them all to you, you can get away with paying contractors far, far less, because you're not paying them for their systems now. You're not paying them for creative and strategy. You're just paying them for deployment and maintenance. Same way with your trainers. You don't need to pay a £25 trainer because you already have a good workout program. You don't need them to create a workout for you. You just need them to turn up and deliver it. Same thing, like I give you guys the Facebook stuff, right? So you don't need to go and pay ads managers $2,000 a month because they charge you that for all the creative strategy work. But you just need to say, hey, here's the strategy I already have that already works and has been proven for 7 years by Justin. I just need you to do this in 3 hours a week. So I'm not going to pay you $2,000, I'm going to pay you 300. And it's easy work for them. They go, oh, you got an ad that works already. Cool, I'll set it up and keep an eye on it for you. You go in there with a winning campaign, a winning system already, they don't have the leverage to charge you the high fees anymore. But it's easy money for them too, because they just get to, Facebook managers love that kind of client. Like, I'm just going to look at it for you for a few £100 a month. Okay, you're a dream client for them, right? So remember that, guys. That's like, you know, the part of the thing you have in the thing. So you have all the things you can be giving to an operations person, and if you go by interest, insights, influence, then they're going to bring a lot of their own stuff to the table, and they're going to want to develop their own systems. And you'll know if it's a logical-minded person pretty fast. Yeah, and so, you know, bringing an integrator in is definitely a core part of it. They're going to need some training. It's a very tough role, you know. It's one book you should get is called Riding Shotgun: The Role of the COO, Chief Operations Officer. This is the role we're talking about here. You're the CEO, the leader, the visionary. The COO is the Chief Operations person. It's called Riding Shotgun: The Role of the COO. Really great book, because that role of COO is so misinterpreted and not understood. And there's a lot of defining qualities that make an effective operations person. Like I said, they've got to be logical enough to be able to read and track data. They've also got to have intuition enough to actually propose strategy forward to you as well. They've got to be somewhat of a strategist. You give a big general idea or a concept, or this is the destination, they've got to decide if it's better to go on foot, on boat, or an airplane, and how much fuel we can spend and how we've got to get there. So they do have to have that forward-thinking strategy mindset too, which of course then is very hard. It's very hard to find a person to do this, because they need usually business experience of their own to have had this kind of experience to know what a good strategy is. That's why something like, you know, these ad people and funnel people are all bullshit. They don't know anything about strategy. They've never had to come up with a strategy in real terms. They just copy what they learned from someone else and try and sell it to you. A cookie cutter approach. Same way as you sell generic meal plans to people, because you've never had to actually work with a client and say, well, you should eat steak, and they go, I react badly to steak. You go, what about chicken? I don't like chicken. I'm a vegan. I'm this. I'm that. I can't afford this much food. I can't, you know, I don't have a fridge, like whatever. Then you've got to deploy real strategy, which means like you're looking at the person's long-term goals, compromised with their short-term resources and what's available now. That's why you create strategy. So this person has to be able to do that. And they then need to be able to keep you in line and not be a yes person. So they've got to have that confidence. So yeah, the role of the COO is really the boss, but they also have to have such little ego investment that they know their job is to make you look like the boss. The COO is the number one that pretends to be the number two. Like Irato now, she's like, I ask her what do I do every day. I don't know. I turn up, I'm like, I'm like, what do I do today? And I get a message off her, she's like, you gotta do this, you gotta follow up with this person, you got this to do, you gotta create the workbook. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, and if I don't do it, she knows to chase me up and say, where is it, where is it? And she's annoyed because she's getting behind on her work. She can't do her work now because I'm watching YouTube fucking around or something. And so she's the real boss. But she knows also her job is to keep making me look like the boss. And it's a very intricate role, and it's very hard to get at this kind of level. Because again, the people that can do this, they've got all the high-paid corporate jobs. Or they've taken equity in some companies, right? Or they're more like, you know, angel investors. So it's tough. It's probably one of the biggest pivot points for young businesses to cross that threshold. But it's worth pursuing and getting all the help you can out, and give someone these books, and someone who has potential for it, give them the books like that. It might take a bit of time, but when it starts clicking and they feel confident, then you basically want someone who's like, it's probably going to be a woman. They need to be really no bullshit. Like they need to give you a hard time
Yeah.
and not put up with your shit, basically. It's like a very, very good woman. But most people, women just tend to be better most of the time. I don't know why, but maybe with a male business owner, I don't know. But a man can do it fine too. But
Reality, no. For most people.
I don't know. That's what I find in experience. So yeah. So have a look at the numbers, see if you can afford 1,000 to 2,000. Maybe even start looking at maybe someone that is a manager at one of a big commercial gym. So at least they've got industry specific info. They'll get retention, they'll get tracking, they'll get attendance, they'll get stock taking for a gym. And they've also worked for a big turnkey company like Virgin Active, Nuffield, whatever. And then they'll still work for a lower than regular salary. Like a manager of Nuffield Health will work for you for under 2,000 a month. Whereas a manager of BMW would want a lot more. But actually the one at Nuffield is probably more valuable to you because they have specific industry information and more passion for it. So go and find someone who may be behind a desk as a manager of one of those places. And the cool thing is that it gives you an opportunity because again, you need to find the story for that person. And at most of those gyms like Nuffield, LA, after supervisor or manager, there's nowhere for them to go. And they're only getting paid like 50 pence more than a personal trainer anyway. So they actually know there's nowhere else to go. There's no career development for them. And they're obviously ambitious since they've worked into that position. That was my goal one day. My goal before I knew any of this stuff was, if I could be a manager at JJB Sports, that's what it was called back then. I was like, 21. And so I would like to go and find one of that person right now and say, I need a manager who's going to take this by the balls and run with it.
Have you worked out your lifetime value of your customers?
Not in actual detail, no. I've got my revenue targets and splits.
Yeah, but if you really work out what the lifetime value is, and he'll harp on it, and I'll harp on it even more, but then right, let's say it's £3,000, right? Well, if you could just close one more client a month, basically, you can then afford to pay someone $3,000 a month, right? Whatever the number happens to be, right? And you've probably got leads that you're not closing with better closing techniques. Change your business.
Well, this is one of the things I'm coming up against. So I feel very lucky that I've got a really great trainer on board, and he's very easy to manage and does a great job with our members. So this year so far we've had 100% upsell from front end to back end offer. So I'm really happy with that. But apart from that, it's back to me doing everything else at once. So I'm doing the calls, but not 100%, and I'm doing the local.
Well, you're trying to be internal and external for the business, aren't you? You can't really be external until you know the internal is taken care of.
So then I feel like everything's suffering because I'm not staying in my lane, which is.
And your operations person is the one who's the mix of internal and external, because he or she can kind of multitask and see all these things at once. You're just like narrow-minded in a good way. Like you're just focused on the energy, the passion, the mission. Right now, the operator person is able to see a handle on the 30,000-foot view of everything, and their brain just works to keep that organized. That's how I can just run like multiple companies at once, right? And I'll get an entrepreneur type is like, or even like Jameson will say, it's like, how do you know what's going on all the time? Because he's like, I just think about like Transform Hub. How do you manage like Ford facilities like that, and different businesses, and the consultancy and live events? And he's like, how do you do it? And I'm just like, well, without a cop-out answer, it's just how my mind works. And I'm like, how do you wake up buzzing, full of energy, jumping in with that kind of intensity? Because I don't have that. My mind doesn't work like that. And so back to what we said this morning, you can't learn what I learn, and I can't learn what you know. Because it's not a skill, it's a personal quality. Any more than I can't learn to be Chinese, right? It's just the way it is.
You learn to speak it.
Maybe. So you can understand each other, but that person has to come in and complement the parts that you don't do naturally. And so...
Seriously, work out that lifetime value, make it a priority. The numbers, again, they don't lie. right? And you all have, you know, if you had your business for a certain time, you'll have that value once you work it out, but you'll have your A, B, C's as well. Like certain customers are worth a higher lifetime value, right? And so you can do different marketing campaigns to attract those types of customers. But it's sitting there in your numbers.
I can still go out and start doing interviews before I know if I can afford it or not.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've got the pipeline, so when I know that the money's there, I can pick up the phone and say, are you still interested in coming to work for us? Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
We'll kick back off at 5 for the final hour, get to everyone else. Minimal amount of time. I mean, it doesn't have to be a full-time job for this.
No,
What's the minute? Could you do an hour a day?
probably, yeah.
That's probably all you need.
It just needs to, I think.
For the size of the operation you have,
Yeah.
it just means you won't be able to implement as many big ideas as fast. Right? Because obviously the more you do, the more chefs take care of that and
Yeah.
clean it behind you. But if you can put half an hour a day to
Yeah.
get the ball rolling,
I think I need to set
put the
myself-
cement between the bricks, so to speak.
Yeah, the accountability and just actually saying, I've got to do this today, and that's all I'm doing today. I'm not going to focus on anything else until I get it done. I think I think I just get overwhelmed with everything, and
This is the thing as well from a pure entrepreneur perspective is again that trait of focusing on one thing at a time, and you'll only stay at a certain solopreneur level like
Yeah.
that because you're running a job. Like if your clients ask you, okay, I've got nutrition, a plan to follow, exercise, and I've got to work on my mindset. Which one do I do first?
yeah.
What do you tell them? Yeah. Which one do I do today? It's not a pick and mix, right? I mean, if you want to just get in real good shape, focus on the exercise.
Yeah.
You'll get those results. But if you want, again, the rewards of being a business owner, you need to take on the responsibilities. That is, you need not you need to do them, but they all need to be done.
Yeah.
Every day, and that's how we track those key metrics. Every day, how many leads came in? Every day, how many sales were made? Every day, like what did we do to increase our lifetime client value today? Did we maximize upsells, retention, or experience? What's been done to serve our team today? Did they get 1% better than yesterday? You know, do we grow that asset? And what's been done first and foremost, it's actually the other way around, but the first one is, well, what have I done on my mindset today?
Yeah.
That's where it all starts from. So I put a podcast out you want to listen to. I think it was called The 5 Priorities of a Fit Pro in their day-to-day business. Anyone listen to that one?
I've listened to all of them.
So you have then. So that one pretty much starts with that, where I've taken each of those modules, and it starts with number 1 priority is you. Are you developing yourself today? Are you taking time for yourself? Are you mentally and emotionally getting resilient? Secondly then, what are you doing to help you and serve your team? Because they're your new clients, remember? Right? The more you serve them, the more they're going to go on and serve the clients. But you've only served the team as much as you've served yourself first. Serve yourself, team, then go to your best clients and serve them and check in with them and what can we do for you today. Then you go to your prospects. How can we help you today? How can we move you forward? How can we get a win-win deal?
Yeah.
You know, and then finally you can then go to your wider audience, wider community outreach. But really the first 4 need to be locked into place first. And so, you know, this is where you know, Lucy might come in and maybe she can hold down the operations and do some check-ins with the team and the clients each day,
Yeah.
leaving you free to work on yourself and the prospects, which means time for yourself and then go to some content marketing or send some emails or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, at least maybe you can manage that workload between each other then, and she could do that in an hour a day probably.
Yeah.
And then once things start getting locked down, then you can start adding on the 5th element, which is then what we talked about with Gary and with John, of like getting out there to the wider area and doing JV deals and fundraisers and selling the vision. But the first 4 pillars need to be locked in first,
Yeah.
or you're going to go too far external and the internal will collapse.
And that's what I feel I'm just doing all the way through those numbers, rather than going 1, 2, 3.
But if you look at those 5 things, like if you just focus really on those 5 things, 1% improvement in myself, in my team, in my clients, in my prospects, just those 4 areas to begin with, you know, you can't really go too far on with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously I've got the application forms that come in on the front end offer, so I've had 2 I'm sitting here today. I'm just thinking, okay, when am I going to call them? And sort of trying to figure that out, and so, well, can I call them tomorrow? And then, so even now I'm just all over the place of just what I need to focus on. So I think I just need to, like I say, just go with the.
And it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to have like a vacuum of 3 hours a day free just to do whatever.
Yeah.
This is just life. This is just
Yeah.
being an entrepreneur, right? You just find a way to make it happen. It's not going to be ideal, but roll with it. That's not.
Yeah.
You've got 3 prospects to call, but you're going to London for a trip. Okay,
Yeah.
cool, whatever. If no one else can do it, you just call them tomorrow. It's not
Yeah.
ideal, it's not optimal, but that's the thing that you can't bolt down a system for everything in a click of a finger, unless you've got big pockets.
Yeah.
But it could probably, like, if it's mobile, text, got your form,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, so that's
conference.
they get that automated.
Okay, so then don't worry about it.
Yeah, a quick 2-minute call. Hey, I would love to get back to you. I'm on a trip in London today, and I would delegate this out, but I really want to have a chat with you.
Gotcha.
So can I just pop in with you tomorrow? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Cool, great. In the meantime, go check out our free Facebook group.
Yeah.
And
You
it's
don't get
like-
someone just doing it off commission.
Not well. I was just saying. Well, hopefully, a guy's got a sales background and he's taught a couple of class 12 we were away, and he's really keen to do it. And I said, Justin, he'll happily give you other one cold calling. Obviously, with these application forms, they're really warm needs. So I mean,
I don't think we've just got members doing it.
Yeah.
Like, Starfish. Yeah, just someone that's chatty that can relate to
Yeah.
people. You don't really need any
And being
maybe
members,
special sale
they're a
backgrounds.
walking testimonial.
Yeah, just one that's done the program or
Yeah.
something, and they just get £15 from the sale or
Yeah.
whatever you decide on.
So I think it really is just that perspective focus thing. Like again, if you're always trying to, if your question is what's the one thing to focus on today, you're never going to find the answer.
Yeah.
Your finances, though, if Lucy's tracking the finances, she'll be telling you which area needs more focus. Do you focus more on clients or on prospects today? Well, what are the number? Your retention rate's low. Focus on your clients.
Yeah.
Number one, then go on to do some content. Content marketing is not a priority today. However, if your retention is fine, lifetime value is good, but your leads are dry, you need to get on some content marketing, don't you?
Yeah.
The numbers are going to tell you everything,
Yeah.
but someone has to read them and translate them to you.
Yeah. So the retention's fine, lifetime customer value is fine. I think it's just getting the leads in there, especially as we get the new venue, just to make sure they're still coming in and doing the content as well.
So that's your ads on the front end,
Yeah.
some of the fastest way to drive leads, and then your email follow-ups, your text follow-ups, your free Facebook group if you have one,
Yeah.
your Instagram, your other things,
Yeah.
to keep hitting those people. And
Yeah, so I'm so sporadic when I post on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So I remember, rather than they say, you were saying that there's something in our life every day that we should be posting about what can use for content.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've only just started on my Instagram account again because, I mean, I stopped literally for 2.5 years because I was every day. I moderated on 3 massive accounts as well, selecting 6 photographs a day to feature, and it was just too time consuming, right? But, it's like, I just started again, and luckily I've still got a decent following, right? But I'll build it back up. It's a pain in the ass for me to do it right now, but I know it has to be done because I put that fucking hard work in to get it there in the first place. I let it drop. I drop the ball. But once I pick it up, I'm just going to outsource that. I'll put the pictures up, obviously, but someone's just going to come there with me and do the comments and do the likes. Right?
On their Instagram, just a little insight that I had recently was there's a value there for reaching prospects and stuff, but what I went and did is I went and found I live in Wimbledon, my gym's in Wimbledon, so I went and found as many Wimbledon-based gyms, clubs, shops, businesses as I could that had a fairly active Instagram account, and I followed them all, and most of them followed me back. So now that when I go out and start doing my local domination and I start approaching businesses to say, would you like to do this, that and the other, or whatever, I know that this business looks good there, I walk past it, looks nice, they've got a big Instagram following, they're active all the time, they're probably going to be quite open to other entrepreneurs approaching them and saying, let's do something together. So in terms of the Instagram side of things, that's just something that came up to me.
But also too, like if you comment on their pictures or you're getting someone else to comment, people will check your profile out, especially on the image you use for your profile. Like mine's a Kraken sunset from Costa Rica, and people say that and go, fuck who? And most of my album sunsets, right? So the commenting is important as well. Right? Not just following people. People just follow me, get that. Right? I don't follow them back. If you're going to go to the trouble of looking at my profile and liking 2 or 3 pictures, then I'm going to look at your profile, like 2 or 3 back, and if I like the look of the account, and strategic, if it's I'll add you. If not, I'll just like and comment and see how you throw it back. Because it's social media, right? But just having people follow you and you doing nothing in return is not going to help you, right? So remember that side of it. You know, when I first started my account, didn't have a clue about hashtags. And once I started to do hashtag research, and then I'd look at the hashtags that were relevant to what I wanted to do with my stuff, and then I would go through, look at the profile, the last 6 pictures I would like, you know, hit the heart sign and comment on one, and then just wait to see. And that's how I built my account, built my following. It took time, but it's worth it.
Does that help, JP?
Yeah.
Any specific questions or?
Yeah.
One last thing for you though, from the accountability perspective, right? And a lot of people struggle with it, but if you had on Monday an appointment with the doctor at 3 p.m, would you go?
Yeah.
But if at 3 p.m. Monday you've written in your diary you've got to do some content marketing, would you find every excuse under the sun to not do it? You need to be accountable to somebody, whether it's through this guy or an accountability partner or someone that can give you that reality check to get it done.
Can you make the weekly calls on a Monday in the program?
I'll probably make the lunchtime one.
So start making it.
I should say probably.
It's a huge difference. The guys that actually use up the mastermind calls every single week we have,
Yeah.
they get shit done because they know I'm going to be breathing down the neck next week. Like, last week I told you to do this.
In Ollie
Why?
Reed's doing that as well.
They jump on the phone, I'm like, hey, what the fuck are you here? Done it yet? No. Fuck off and do it then. I'm going to tell you the same thing otherwise.
Yeah.
My business strategy hasn't changed in 7 days because that's people then just looking for the answer that suits them. Not, I already gave you the answer, but you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
You know, so that's good for accountability too.
And look at your business as you Inc, as in just your own name incorporated, right? There's value there. Most of us just don't value ourselves, right? And you have to. You've got to put a value in yourself. So if you have to do X, Y, Z steps in your business, be accountable to yourself, but you know, make sure it's done. But if you're doing these weekly calls, yeah, get on the freaking things. Things will change quickly.
All right.
It's Welsh, you know. No sheep jokes, okay?
Now, like I say, we shag them and you eat them.
Or buttery loaves.
All right. Kev, we'll go Kev next.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Kev, I'm from Cardiff. I've got a small group personal training gym. I'm kind of, I know you were chatting earlier about what your goal is in business, so I'm kind of in the lifestyle goal right now. So I've got 2 children, I want to spend time with them, so my goal right now is to be there most of the time. So the business is running well. I've got 3 good coaches in place. They pretty much run the show on the coaching front. My admin does all the sales and things like that, and I kind of do leadership, strategy stuff, and direct them what they need to be doing, and then just keep them accountable. So in terms of challenges, I guess one is sometimes I feel a bit guilty that I'm with the children so much, where that's my goal, but I still feel a bit guilty doing it, if that makes sense.
To who? Your team?
Say again, sorry?
Feel guilty to who?
Just that I should be doing more.
Right. So whose opinion are you afraid of? Like,
It's mine.
or your team
It's mine.
think? No, it's someone else's opinion. So who are you afraid of? Like, is it you think your team
I
will
don't
be
know, I
judging you
think
for
like
it?
Shane mentioned earlier,
Yeah,
sometimes
mine was
Child,
my dad,
parents.
definitely.
yeah,
My
so
dad.
sometimes you said like people sometimes you're playing golf again, or you're having the kids again.
So I
It's like,
know
oh,
we talked a couple of weeks ago, and I think we just talked about the fact that your model's on pace. You just got to give it
just
2 or
going
3
through a
months.
slow process, yeah.
You're getting the signs you need. There's nothing else for you to go and do
yeah.
apart
So
from just wait and let it run, because you're getting the numbers. And you've got to, again, your costs are a bit high right now. You've got to let your revenue go up a little bit with what you already have, and that's just going to take 3 to 4 months of letting it work.
yeah.
So yeah, this is what happens now when you get that kind of twiddly thumb syndrome. When you're at this point now where it comes to just letting the business mature and let the systems work and pay off over time, this is where it brings up our
I think that's where it's maybe it's impatience. I feel like I should be doing more, but
Well, impatience
if I
is
did-
impatience is a derivative of the feelings that come up here are guilt and shame. Fear, doubt, guilt, and shame are what come up when we're now left to actually with our own thoughts, and we're not because doing and hustling
yeah.
for most people is their escapism from from getting away from their thoughts in their head.
So the
So now
strategies
you're
to
left
help
now you're
overcome
left with
that?
self-awareness of like, I've got to actually listen to them.
Yeah.
Then it brings up all these, and you start realizing only in that space, you start realizing that's why you hustle so hard and bust your ass, because really you tricked yourself thinking you were doing it for you, because you're a good person and a hard worker and you care, but really we're doing it all the time because we're trying to escape the voices of you're lazy and pathetic and don't deserve things. If you don't do those, right? If you're not like one of us.
Yeah.
And this is a common thing that most entrepreneurs will go through this point, and it's really how you react to this is going to really determine if you keep growing or if you relapse back to either staying the same, round and round in circles, or you actually go back and demote yourself really in terms of skill. And yeah, it happens across the board. I've seen it with so many people. And if left unchecked, this will turn into from work addictions, because there'll come a point where, you know, maybe like where Shane is now, there's a lot less to do. And if you don't deal with these things, these will turn into worse addictions later on. And I've worked with like 9-figure company owners. Imagine you right now you've got a 9-figure business, or you've got a company that makes $20 million a year, and then you're in that position of, now I've got free time, now I feel guilty. Right? And how do you think they go and solve their fucking problems on a lonely night, right? No idea. But because when you've got more free time, plenty of money, then it can turn very quickly into worse addictions, which you're just doing to escape those feelings of inadequacy or shame and guilt, because social conditioning has told you that you don't deserve this for some reason. And that social conditioning doesn't mean, it could just be even, you feel you don't deserve it maybe because your parents didn't earn that much money, or because none of your friends do, or because you came from a certain town, and I came from Merthyr Tydfil, right? Like the second worst economic area in the UK. Yeah, so, literally I don't talk to a single person from my hometown now. Because I left school, and I had connections with loads of people from my school and high school, things like that. First time I put a picture up a few years back then of me and my new villa in Cyprus, all the comments come in, like, oh, you changed, or one guy was like, you're just a cunt. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, fuck, I've changed and not there anymore.
Exactly, and you've forgotten your roots, you've forgotten where you've come from, and I'm just like, it's just excuse, because I've just threatened your reality basically, because I'm showing you, look, you can come from a town and actually make something of yourself, and when you do that, you're highlighting to them that they're not doing it, and so they just want to react at you to cover the fact that they just don't want to work on themselves. So you're going to see this, all of you guys, the higher, more successful you get in life, like the smaller and smaller your circle of people around you are going to be, and you just have to get used to, it's a very hard thing to muster, but you have to get used to the fact that you're right and everyone else is wrong. And you have to know that also be empathetic, that they're not going to understand you, and it's okay. You'll get to a point where they don't understand what you mean, but it's okay, because you don't need them to understand. You will, you'll respect, if it's people like those people in school, like, fuck up, it doesn't matter, but if it's people in your life that are going to have a clash with this, parents don't understand, partners that don't understand, maybe kids when they're older that don't understand why you're doing this, and then the people you can't just say fuck off to, then you need to get to a point where you're okay with it. For me, like my biggest challenge was my parents, because they're just regular working people, 9-to-5 jobs. They don't even like know what I do. I don't think, like, they're like, they try. I don't have any conversations around business. When I see them, like, they never in 8 years have ever asked, like, how's business? What are you up to? Because they just don't want the conversation. They just don't know. And it kind of threatens their reality a bit, that they kind of, I think they've seen like bank statements that have gone to their place and stuff, and they know that I make in a month more than they make combined in a year, and they just don't know how to even approach that. That's so far outside their scope of reality, because they've spent 60 years.
People think you're a drug dealer, like most people, their parents think you're a drug dealer or a criminal.
Like, once my mother was like, she's like, what exactly do you do? She's like, people kind of just like pay to come and hear you talk, or pay for you to Skype them. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of it. And she's like, why?
I had the exact same thing a few months
Yeah.
ago with my dad.
And
And
so,
knowing your mother, I can picture her. Like,
Yeah.
Exact face. Yeah.
and so there was a time, you know, where I'd be like, how do I say the right things to come across to them? How do I keep myself down at that level, rather than just embracing who I am? Because if I do that, I might feel like a disconnection from them, you know. But ultimately, then you just got to learn to just be okay with it. And it's like, cool, I'm not going to talk about business to my parents. I'll just ask how their life's going, and they're never going to understand me probably, and I'm never going to understand them. But that doesn't mean we can't still have a good relationship. And really, a few years ago, like overcoming that was just the acceptance of it. Nothing you have to do to change, nothing they have to do to change. I'm not going to come down to their level, but conversely, I don't need them to come up to my level either. So I used to think, like, I've got to put them on a Tony Robbins program, they need to do this. But that is me, that is my fear.
I actually pay to see that happen.
But that is actually, again, it comes across. I can outwardly say, well, that's me wanting to develop the best for them. No, that's actually me afraid of losing connection with them, and I'm trying to force them to come up to where I am, which is just as bad as them trying to, oh, what are you doing that for? And them trying to pull you down is the same as you trying to force them up. You're both doing it because you don't want to lose connection from those people.